welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today on this day, I'm so excited. I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Professor Ricky West. He is a cyber ed tech guru, the founder of numerous ventures in the IT cyber world, and just the guy you want to go to for all things in this ever-changing, ever-evolving world we call IT. Cyber, and I am so looking forward to gleaning from him today. I will truly be picking his brain. But first and foremost, as I always do, sir, I take a quick moment to pause, say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time to sit down and chat with me. And with that, sir, welcome to the show.
Yes, no, thank you so much for having me. This is just truly an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, we're going to just get right in here and barrel away because I have a short time with you. But as I was preparing for today's show, because I'm clueless about, you hear the terms IT, you hear the term cyber, but I don't think we really, a lot of us really don't understand the ins and out of it. But I was doing a little research. And one of the things that I found out is that you are sort of a unicorn in this IT cyber world, in that there's not really that many Black folks
Hmm.
in this world. And that was kind of interesting to me. So, my first question is, why are we not in this space?
Ooh, that's loaded. It's there's not that it's layers to this. So let's say, take it from the very fundamental of it. There's not a lot of people post COVID. So I'm gonna take it like a little short time frame here. Post COVID that's in cyber that's passionate about the vocation that they're serving. There's a
Okay.
lot of people that's here. A lot of people came over this bridge more or less from you know COVID restrictions, and
Okay. Okay.
recession, the recession proof, and and so forth. Um, but two, like most industries, you have cyber and IT is it's like going to be a firefighter, where you are carrying a mantle of protection, not just from, your household, but a whole community, the
Mm,
whole world, and just like with a lot of things, like, being a nurse, being a firefighter, that's, that's just not something you just up and just roll into, just get
got
out
you.
of
Got
bed
you.
and
Got
just like, I'm gonna be a nurse today,
you. Got you.
because every decision you make into a person's body is life or death, is terminal.
Yes.
Cybersecurity is no different, because every decision we make in the field is is either strengthening the protection of a loved one or somebody else in another country, or is leaving the door open for a villain, a
Mm,
hacker to get in. So it's not for the faint of the heart, even though the vacancy is there for anybody that want to go inside of it. And
okay.
so I think that level of responsibility, among some other variables, that all plays a part into, you know why a lot of us is not there. But even so, from a training education, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, just from cyber training and education, to
Okay.
where we are marketing one thing, but the industry is demanding another, and there's a disconnect between what's being marketed and what's being in demand, that needs to be aligned, so that we, as a whole, as a culture community, we can have access to the right resources that's going to give us that equity to be
Oh, okay.
eligible, to be employable and sustainable in this industry.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Got you. Well, if you can't answer me this, I'm thinking of a nationwide black
Hmm.
bank, a
Yes.
nationwide black bank. And so when you think of banking, there's all sorts of a variety of IT cyber issues, sort of like sending out the emails to the customers, protecting the bank accounts, protecting the facilities itself. So Would your best guess be, even in a black owned bank that has all of these cyber IT issues, are they, do they possibly have a large black pool of people serving, or do they still have to outsource these jobs to people who don't look like us?
Yeah, it's still a lot of outsourcing. We it's the reasoning is it can easily get swept underneath the rug as far as why not us, because
Mhm.
we only represent less than 10%. If it's, I don't even think it's a full 10, it's like 8.5% worldwide where black people and people of color in the industry. But I truly feel educationally wise that even with these black banks, it's like, yes, you want to hire more us for us, right? To
Mhm.
service us. That's ideal, of course.
Okay.
But when you get down to um, going back to the eligibility of it, to say that, yet I need a skilled person to do this level of vigilante on my
Got you.
entity. I don't care. It gets down to where I don't care about color no more. Can you do the job?
Got you.
So yes, we want to say, oh yeah, we want to hire more passionate, people of color to do this, to be this person of valor, to be our
Got you.
front end, our front person. But when it gets down to the granularity of it, it's like, hey, look, I don't even care. Can you do this? Can you prevent this next attack from being done? Because
Got you.
if you don't, that's my reputation as a whole, as a bank owner, that's been
Got you. Okay.
scrutinized. So it comes down to that, to where it, surface color only goes so far to having a presence, to where it does not overtake skill, and
Okay.
that's the misalignment where a lot of us that's transitioning into tech, that we only get half of. So when you think about tech, thinking about it from a currency standpoint, like we chase money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in tech, there's three currencies that we have to keep in the priority, in the forefront. Those currencies is a security clearance,
Mm-hmm.
it's a certification,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's for a lot of us, no matter the color, you can't really test security clearance, because that's from an employer deciding whether they're going to sponsor you to give you a clearance or not.
Okay.
But then
Okay.
too, a lot of us, and it's everybody, but there's a lot of us that has crazy backgrounds from
Got you.
things we've
Understood.
done in our past life, to where
Understood.
it makes us ineligible to get a clearance when it's time to get one.
Got you. Got
So
you.
that's one thing. So now you got two currencies left. You got certifications, and you have skills, the skill enrichment of it. Well, it's easy in this training education sector to get certifications. There's a thousand ways to skin a cat. There's a thousand ways to get a certification,
Okay.
and there's a lot of us that are doing what I call certification hustling, where we're just taking classes back to back, just getting certs. You
Oh,
know, and so that's one currency, but we're missing the skill currency. And so in this industry, we are left to survival, to find the skill that we can obtain to match the level of certifications that we already
okay.
earned.
Okay. Okay.
And so if the level of skill is not a one-on-one match, or the skill does not supersedes the amount of certifications we have, when we get to those interviews, we are already ineligible for what we're being interviewed for. I hope that makes sense. So
Got
it's
you.
the
Okay.
certification makes it eligible to have a conversation. The skill will supersede that conversation, that we can get a job. So
Got you.
there's a
Okay.
lot of people, especially people of color, that are eligible for the interview, but they're not eligible to receive the job. And that's where the misalignment, to where nobody's really uh, focused on that alignment there. We're focused on getting the credentials to get to the door. I'm like, hey, forget the door. I'm trying to get through the door, and,
Okay.
and really have the eligibility to be employable. And
Oh,
so and so when you going back to your illustration with the black banks, it's like these black bank owners, like, they want to find a certified, skill-driven professional to hire to do the job, preferably be a person of color. But then when 9 times out of 10, you're looking at your recruiting, resumes in your repository, and it's like, person of color, white, or whatever other race, and it's like 80% non-person of color, and that 80% has the certs, has the skills, and they have the clearances. And then you got the other 20% that's like got one of the three, two of the three, but rarely three of the three. And you have to make decisions not so much for people of color or the profile and characteristics of a person, but based off who can do the job and do it well enough that it protects me and what I'm doing. And that's what it comes down to.
Okay. So hearing you talk, it seems like skills is one of the more important
Very
assets.
much so. Yes.
And coming from a 4-year institution, and then even when I hear these commercials for on the radio for IT training, uh, classwork courses, one of the things that I'm hearing constantly is we will guarantee you a job or give you whatever. Is there skill set training in this process, or what are we missing here?
Oh, so I love that you highlighted that, because kind of what I said before about what's being marketed to the public and what's being delivered as a deliverable are not the same.
Okay.
So we see publicly guaranteed a job. We see entry level 60, 70,000. We see this. We
Mm-hmm.
see, oh, this go take 200 hours of this video, watch this video for 200 hours and you're going to get this certificate that's going to get, like, this is what's being marketed to us. And a lot of things in our minds, we live in a lazy mindset. So
Yes.
we as a people, as a culture, we see this like, oh, that's the secret formula to get from here
Quick
to
hustle.
here.
Yeah.
Right. It goes back to the quit hustle. And so we see the quit hustle and we see that it's probable and it's practical. And oh, the other people are talking about it. If they're doing it, we definitely can do it because we can do it better. Huh. Stay on focus and stay focused, Ricky. All right, so because I get on another tangent real quick with that. But nevertheless, is that you know, it's that quit hustle mindset that we hear this is they guarantee, probable, practical. You just need X, Y, Z. But then to answer the second half of your question, is is there skill enrichment involved? There has to be a known distinction between skill awareness and skill enrichment.
Okay.
And there's a lot of skill awareness in a lot of these higher ed community centers, and there, and some of these private sectors as well. It's not just higher education that has this deficit, because the kind of tackling the root, the training in the education sector in cybersecurity is not as well structured and established as people may think. There's resources, and there's a baseline of resources, but when it gets to the intricate parts of where we need improvement is at, people don't want to dive that far. People don't want to, really peel back those layers and realize there is a serious problem of disconnect, disassociation between what the demand and the supply, you know, and so to answer your question, the skill enrichment is not fully there. There's skill awareness and there's skill exposure, but there's not a true defined skill enrichment to allow um, you know stakeholders to receive the equity that they need for sustainability long term.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you this so I can get some clarity here, because I'm assuming that the IT cyber world is vast with a variety of different career options. And when we're talking about skill enrichment, just speaking from my own personal experience with the 4-year institutions, it was a heavy investment in ensuring that you were job ready. Uh, are many of the IT cyber careers, do they lean more towards the 4-year degree requirement, or they lean more so towards the vocational type atmosphere?
Vocational, because cybersecurity and IT are skill heavy. There there are so let me back up here. So the way I look at college and vocational, college is more theoretical in the sense of this is what a discipline is supposed to look like. This is how this discipline correlates with this other discipline, and some of the best practices and some of the theatrics behind that discipline. That's college to me. Vocational is this is how you do this task. This is how you do perform. This is how you perform in this deliverable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so IT and cyber is more vocational focus, where the higher education is not doesn't have an impact on the success rate of a person pursuing any of these technical disciplines.
Okay.
So one of the great things I love about our former President Donald Trump that he does to make a distinction to say, hey, you can or saying hey to HR to say you can hire somebody that does not have a 4-year degree but have the certifications, and you
Gotcha.
can hire them at the same level of rigorous or of quality. I mean, to as if they had a 4-year degree or a master's degree or whatever
Gotcha.
the case may be. So
Gotcha.
when he made that known and made it into like a mandate, it validated what we've been saying all this time, that I don't need a 4-year degree to pursue IT or cyber, because these two are more skill focused, and they're not. We don't care about theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because cyber is, can you protect my house or not?
Can you do
It's
the
a yes or
job?
no. You're right.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm glad all this happened, this shift of recognizing cyber and IT for what it is, because of the fact it makes it more practical for all this supply of workforce to be eligible to come and meet this demand that this industry is demanding, right?
Okay.
But that transition of education and enrichment has to be aligned to meet the supply where they're at and cultivate them to meet the demand that's being required. And that's where the disconnect's at.
Okay. Great. Okay. Okay. It's just confusing to me because Ricky, I'm pretty sure you and I have attended some of the same Black family functions. We sat at
Mm-hmm.
some of the same Black spades tables. And
Yes.
usually in these Black community environments, there is somebody there telling us that the career come up is to go to trucking school, get your CDLs,
Mm-hmm.
go get your nursing thing. We are very well aware of the vocational training aspect. So for us to not be
Mm-hmm.
circulating in our community, hey, this come up, this is a viable come up. Um, we got some work, we got some mouthpieces, some work to do.
Yes, I totally agree. I'm a product of the vocational school. Even before I got to a community college and then USC, as my PWI, as I call it. And so it's I think there's a you know it's kind of to the popularity contest, right? Vocational compared to your other outlets of education, that it is it's reduced to a iota, no pun intended. But
That's backstory. That's pre-interview conversation.
that wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. But but I feel like the popularity contest to go vocational is downplayed at the space table, from your peers that say, oh, you want to do community college? Oh, you want to go do, because when we think about vocational, most people equip to plumber, electrician, and some of these dirty jobs that they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I ain't doing that. That's the equivalence of a janitor. I don't want to do that, you know.
Mm-mm.
And we're in, and as families, as community,
Yeah.
we're not breaking the narrative to equip and educate and bring awareness of exposure to these hungry minds to say, hold on, let me give you another perspective. There's IT and cyber, and don't forget these same electricians, these are the one that you're doing house calls to, and they're charging you arm and leg because they're the experts and they're keeping you, your house safe and whatever the case may be. So it's that narrative to that seed planting needs
Yes.
to be honed and pruned, and really redefined in such a way that is more inviting and encouraging and more supportive to cultivating somebody that do want to pursue just that. Because believe it or not, a lot of people go these different routes and then don't work out for them. They retreat back to what they just frowned on,
Yes.
years prior, and now they're
Yes.
successful with no debt and making a well established living. So that's one of the things that really frustrates me with this new generation and really the old generation, because we're seeking advice from this old generation that that's really frowning upon some of this bad advice,
Yes.
and so forth. So I feel like all of that, that we just got to tell a better story, because IT and cyber, as much as they are not identical twins, those are really like two isolated disciplines. And one has a better flavor, a digestible flavor than the other, but they're still both very practical outlets that you could put in the conversation with the plumber, the electrician, and so forth.
Yeah, it gives you the means to buy a house and take care of the family and get
Very
that
much
nice
so.
car in the driveway. But we have to educate
Yes.
generations that this is an option. And you mentioned the older generation, going to school, going to school. That was heavily imparted in us, but now there are alternative and more economical ways to go to school that provide you with a very sustainable, very very enjoyable income. So
Very much
um
so.
well, let me get into some of the work that you are doing. You are a serial entrepreneur, it seems like, but one of the latest endeavors you have is CertWallet, right? Now,
That's
I
right.
have I have heard of continuing education units. I've heard of that. Everybody knows that concept, but I have not heard of the magic that you are doing over there with this. So, explain to me what actually happens over there.
So CertWallet. So let me give you the reason why I created CertWallet, and that's gonna hone in on a lot of the about us. So being a man behind cybersecurity, I was that person that was doing the certification hustling. I was I at one point in time I had about 6 to 7 certifications in different various aspects of IT and cyber. And one of the things that we do, we spend all this time and this money and energy. Don't be the person with the test anxiety. So it's a lot of investment to get one cert, but then you have these people like myself that has 7 certs. So I acquired all this portfolio of assets, and I started hustling in the career to get the bag, right? To get that, get that
Okay,
salary
okay,
that I was somewhat
okay.
promised in this marketing campaign. That, hey, if I get this, I'm guaranteed that, right? Uh, and so I was spending so much time focusing on chasing the career that I did not maintain the assets that I've acquired. And
Oh,
so the average certification lasts 3 years. There's a 3 year shelf life to the certification that we attain.
okay.
Now, as you remember before, certifications are one of those currencies. So if you have the certification, you have equivalents to money. And if you have money, you can go buy stuff. Well, same
Gotcha.
thing in your career. If I have 7 certifications, that means I have basically 7 pieces of gold that I can use at any given time to
Gotcha.
make myself eligible for a job,
Gotcha.
right? So, but if you lose that goal, you literally lose that goal and then you have to start from scratch to get it again.
Okay.
And so when you're talking about the eligibility and the people of color and why we have such a little stake in this big industry, it's because, and another little variable of that is we lose our assets to administrative negligence. That's it's a lot to this. So think about it like this: if you bought a house and you're trusting somebody else, some person you never met before, to pay the taxes on that house, and you're out here doing whatever you need to do, you just know you got a house somewhere in another state, and you're trusting this property manager or whoever to do the paperwork to maintain the asset that you just invested into, right? And then you wake up one day, 30 days in, say, hey, if you don't pay this astronomical number, you're gonna lose your house.
Okay.
And now, in that frame of mind, now you're worried, you're scared. You're like, ho, now I gotta stop what I'm doing to go back and do. And I never done this paperwork before, so I don't even know where to start at. That's the same persona of anxiety that every cyber professional, IT professional have when it comes to certification, because it's already a currency to have it.
Okay.
So if from an administrative standpoint, we do not do the right paperwork, we don't get enough CEUs, if we do not prepare to extend that shelf life for that one cert, we will lose it just like you lose that house. And everything you don't put into it down the drain is in vain. And so it was at a one point in time where I'm sitting here chasing my career. So we're sitting here chasing our career so much that where we are forgetting that there's a shelf life to this currency. And like for myself, I found out 30 days that 3 of my 7 certifications was going to expire, and that if I didn't get 120 CEUs within 30 days, they was going to be gone. And case in point, it was gone. And so now I'm sitting here like, wow, if I spent $3,000 per, I just lost close to 10 grand in a matter of minutes. And it's so in my world at that time, I was like, there has to be something better, because a lot of us, and there's a lot of professionals, it's not just people of color, but there's a lot of us where we have these assets and we're not properly managing them. We're not the persons that we're putting the receipts in the shoebox so that when tax time comes, we have the receipts ready and available to give to our accountant. We don't do that. As much people say, oh yeah, I keep up my CUs. No, you don't. You don't. No, you're lying to me if you say you do. And well, I just went to this conference. I'm like, okay, but did you take a screenshot of the attendance, the confirmation for what you paid for it? Because when you go and report this conference, they're gonna ask you, what was the name of the conference? How much did you pay? They gonna want to validate that you went, and they want to validate that you didn't just sign up and not go. So it's a lot of administrative bandwidth that has to take place to increase the shelf life. And so I created CertWallet to really give it this automatic renewal tool that if you store your certs with us, that we will automatically renew them for you.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So does it just work with IT and cyber, or is it for?
No, it's for anybody or any profession that's in demand. But we wanted to hit our backyard first, and so that's why we're focusing on IT and cyber right now. But as soon as we hit certain milestones, we will begin to pivot into other industries like healthcare, education, and so forth.
Okay, great. So people sign up with you, and you just send notifications out like, hey, here's the time for you to renew, and this is what you got to do and such.
So yes, very similar. So they come to us, they store their certs in it's literally a wallet. So it's a secure wallet that every user gets, and they put their assets in the wallet. So whether it's their certifications, if they did earn a CU, let's say they took a class or went to a webinar or whatever, they store those receipts as well inside of this wallet. And what we do, we track and place all these assets in a very secure structure that helps us give very suggestive training training plans to say, okay, we see what you have. We know you have 5 certs, and each of your certs, you need about 20 CUs to maintain it. So based off your location, your budget, this is plan A, plan B, plan C of what you can do each year to meet this goal in the next 2 years. And so we are walking them through. We're providing various constructive planning actions on their behalf to say, well, if you tell us what plan you want us to do, we will do the hard work for you. We will enroll you in these courses. We will add these like we will do the documentation and uploads for you. And if you want us to, we will actually go and do the renewal for you.
Awesome.
So it's literally to take the guesswork out of keeping up with what you worked so hard to get.
Awesome. Awesome. Don't get no better than that. Next thing I need you to do is go down there and renew my driver's license for me so I don't have to stand in that.
Yes.
So I ain't got to stand in that DMV line. If I can get you up there, we'll be good to go.
Yes. I like to tell people is think about it like your personal assistant for just renewing your certifications. That's what CertWallet is. And that's what, we just, yes, hitting those variables of why we're not in the industry and why we're not sustaining. So if we can keep up with the assets to keep you employed or employable, then we're knocking away at that mission to help our communities strive further, longer.
All right, keeping our community in the game. Now, what the other thing that you have before I get out of here, because I've already taken up, I can never get this 30 minutes in, but one of the things that you are doing to make sure our community is getting our foot in the door in the IT cyber world is you also have the Exodus project. And if I read correctly, you're getting them when they're in high school. Is this what this project is?
Yeah, so the Exodus project is a learning continuum, meeting students where they're at in high school and getting them all the way into the front door of an employer.
Okay.
And so given that we are, less than 10% in the United States, we are less than 5% worldwide when it comes to people of color. And a lot of the same problems that we have here in the United States, it's the same problems that in Africa, Asia, Europe, Canada, and so forth. And so what we've been commissioned to do is to spread this wealth of redefining what this education and training sector is supposed to look like, and we've been commissioned to do the same mission work in other countries, helping people that it's not even so much just least fortunate, but just the underserved community have the resources that they need to get into this continuum and receive the benefits from that comes with this industry.
Okay, great. Now, piggybacking on that, and something you mentioned earlier, sometimes with us in the Black community, when we're younger, we make some mistakes that inhibit us from the first thing you said was a security element. Mm-hmm. that kind of hinder us from clearing that hurdle of security. So since you work with young folks and getting them introduced into these career paths, are there options for if you make mistakes to fix that and still segue into these careers?
Yes, like a security clearance is not a make or break, right? Now if you're working in the government or you want to pursue like the federal government space, then it becomes a little bit more critical to have a security clearance. But every company has an IT department. Every company, has a cyber, contingency plan in some shape or form. So if you are a person that has a very adverse background, then it's not, it's not the end of the world. It's just so much that, just like maybe some the reentry population may have to get some things expunged. We gotta do the same thing. We need to go back and improve our credit score. We need to go back and remove some of that either remove the bankruptcy or allow there to be enough time to offset when the bankruptcy happens. Like there needs to be a deep analysis of what we have accumulated in our past that was, is our past that we need to, kind of reduce that level of impact in our present. And I think it just takes a little deep dive into figure that out, but it is very practical for us to do just that. And if we let enough time kind of lapse, a lot of these security clearance reviews, you only go back so far to do an audit of who you are and and what you have accumulated. So it's hope. It's
Oh,
definitely
okay.
hope.
Yeah, because it just seems like a career because, a lot of times, especially with the younger generation, when you had the kid that was trying to find direction, they would tell them go into the military, or, even today when you find people telling you to go get your CDLs to be a trucker, there's
Yes.
some colorful elements in the past,
Yes.
whatever. But to have this option of pursuing the IT cyber career and be able to get some good paying income,
Yes.
just was trying to wonder what the options were. Okay. Um, Let me see here. I think I have asked you everything that I wanted to ask you. Well, probably not, but everything I can ask you for
I
today.
understand. Okay.
Ask you for today. So with the Exodus project, is that a you in the high schools or not?
So we're not directly in the high schools. This is we're currently building that continuum where so Bridge and Cyber is my training
Yeah.
facility here, or my learning center, if you will. And so what we're doing right now, we are seeking out stakeholders in the Canada and the Africa populations
Okay.
that we can collaborate with to extend what we have here in Maryland to these different parts of the world. And so we currently have a footprint in Canada, and we're still looking to go beyond this arena to hit other destinations as well. And so
Okay.
we're not directly in high schools, but we are affiliated with partners who have the high school population in their bandwidth, and so we're
Okay.
providing training education for them.
Okay, okay. So if there are high school or public school systems or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that want to incorporate this vocational aspect into their environment, their landscape, they can reach out for you
Yes,
okay,
definitely. Yes.
okay, awesome. Because that, just thinking there's mechanics and HVAC or whatever. So to
Mm-hmm.
incorporate that, okay. All right, all
And
right.
yes, and along with there's I've come across some entities like other existing vocational facilities that want to expand into the cyber and training. So I'd be very open to that as well. That they want to bring these avenues into their portfolio that I can help establish that, because that's just more avenues for our people to be able to cross into that bridge.
Now, let me ask you this because I saw the chuckle earlier when I mentioned it. And because you do educate people on how to get into this field, when you're hearing these radio commercials, these TV commercials about here, this IT career, and in 5 months you can be this, what should they really be looking for before they sign up for one of these programs? Because I don't want to waste my money and not get a job.
It, it that honestly, I that's the level of reconnaissance, or the level of and I'm sitting here using technical terms, the level of recon that we need to do, um is not, and I'm just gonna be honest, it's not gonna truly help what the angle that the question is. I'm gonna restate the question to be more aligned with the practicality of what
Okay.
we want to do. There's not a level of recon to say that whether this program is fake or not. Like,
Okay.
is there a chance that I can get a job? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people, the hoodwink, the blindfold that a lot of people have is that they think that if I do these 6 months, it is a guarantee of that. What gets us is the amount of work that has to be invested in that 6 months, so that at the end of the 6 months, we're eligible to get the job that we want. So,
Okay.
thank you, God. All right. So it's a lot of times when we think we go to college and we graduate, we say, "Oh, we are eligible," or we are. It's like a cause and effect. Because we graduate, we're supposed to get this job. Well, in this case, it's not because I graduated, I get this job. Because you graduated, can you do the demonstration? can you audition with the skills that you're supposed to have learned in these 6 months to do this job? And there's a lot of us that we fail on the demonstration part because we really didn't get it in the 6 months that we was in the school.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not so much a recon that you can do as a precursor because all programs are literally the same, and it's based off your teacher you got. It's based off how that program developed that cohort or that class. There's a lot of variables that goes into that to where the average person is not going to be able to decide or decipher. But it's really come down to you as a person that when you start this class, are you going to gravitate to it, sacrifice your time, the leisure time, family time, whatever the case may be, to really hone in on this skill in such a way that if you're asked to demonstrate this skill, that you can do it with flying colors. And that's what a lot of people are missing. They can't do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. All right. So we got some information now, some understanding about this IT world, cyber world. And with everything changing, I'm pretty sure I can talk to you next year and it'll be a whole different dynamic. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But I'm going to ask you my random question and then I'm going to ask for you, request for you nicely to tell us how we connect with you. But let me ask this random question here first. Let's see what we got now, sir. Let's see what we got now. What's one thing you always procrastinate on?
Writing a book?
Oh, so we got one in the works?
No, sir.
Procrastinate on those continuing education units. Okay.
Yes. There's a lot of game and there's a lot of wisdom, that I definitely want to share with the world.
Yeah.
When it comes to just professional and personal development. But yeah, it's gonna get in the book one day, just one day.
Okay. So with today's technology, you of all people know about technology. You can
Yes,
walk around with your phone and dictate a chapter, and I mean, so at some point we're just making excuses.
yes, very much so because I have the files for the recordings. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest. I have them. Yeah,
I can't be mad. I can't be mad. Well, tell us how we connect with you if we want to learn more about IT cyber, want to get our certs in the wallet, want to get one of our kids involved in the program. Just tell us how we connect with you.
Yes, definitely social media, Facebook. Bridge Cyber, if you want to get some certifications, some skill enrichment, Bridge Cyber, the website, bridgecyber.com, or ricky.west@bridgecyber.com. Reach out to me 24/7. If you have certifications and you need help to manage those certifications, please go to www.getcertwallet.com. So www.getcertwallet.com. For less than 30 cents a day, we can manage your certifications automatically, so you don't have to. And if you are an international stakeholder, you have resources where you want to bring some educational resources to your doorstep, please go to www.exodusproject.com and connect with us and grow this mission with us.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So the next thing we need to do, Mr. West, is kind of get you to more of the, just have you travel around the cookouts, and while you're doing the electric slide, say, hey, you know about that cyber? I can get you that
Yes,
cyber.
yes. That's literally how it is. Like, hey, you got certs? You got certs? I can help you. Literally, got
you got that? You got the cert? So we need to get you around doing that. But
yes,
I truly appreciate everything that you're doing, especially getting the young folks on board. I mean, because this is next generation, future
yes,
forward stuff, and I mean it's just amazing. And for us to not be in this industry, this space, and to have you as an example, as a role model, leading us in, is truly a beautiful, phenomenal thing. So I just applaud all the work that you're doing, and congratulations, kudos, admiration from little old me.
no, thank you so much. Thank you so much for even thinking about me. I greatly everybody that was involved in making this happen. I'm truly am grateful. So thank you.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.